Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, BRB. The did not hit for me, guys. Perfect. This week I have a really fun reading vlog for you guys. As you can tell by the title, we are letting Fable choose my reads for a week. So I will be reading 2 books in this episode, and these are the books that are potential options. We have First Lie Wins by Ashley Elston. This is like a mystery thriller book. We have Blue Sisters by Coco Mellors, which is kind of like a literary fiction book. We have The Secret History by Donna Tartt. It is a dark academia book. And then we have Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelley Van Pelt. I think this is just a regular fiction book with I think a little bit of mystery aspects in it. And I know the main character is an octopus, so this could be a really interesting read. And next is I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Hartman. And I've heard great things about this book, and this would be a great option because it's nice and short. And then last but not least, The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is the first book in the Natural series, and it is 4 books in total. But yeah, these are all the options. These are all books that I want to read this winter, so I'll be excited with whatever 2 books Fable chooses. So basically on Fable, they have this thing called Scout, and he can randomly pick books for you to choose. I will say I don't know how long this is gonna take because it can only do it in the want to read lists that they have. Like if I try to create another list, it does not have the same Scout option. So we're just gonna see, and whichever 2 books that it lands on first out of my entire TBR, we will use those. So I am now screen recording my screen, and I'll put it on the screen. I don't know which side yet, but I'm gonna click pick for me, and we'll just see what Scout has to say for me. I'm like kind of nervous. I'm kind of excited, but it has a lot of books. I have over 600 books, so I don't know how long it'll take before we get to one of these. Okay, it says Dead of Winter. That is obviously not on this, so let's just pick again. Okay, I don't know how long this is gonna take, so I'm gonna just fast forward until they show me another pick that it's in front of me. You guys, we finally got a pick. I stopped screen recording, so I'm gonna put it back on the screen real quick in 3, 2, 1. So now we are back. I underestimated how long it would actually take to get to one of these books out of my TBR that's over 600 books long. But the first book we have is Remarkably Bright Creatures. We have her right here, super pretty, love the sprayed edges. Very excited for this to be the first pick. I have heard great things about this book. I like to go into books and honestly any type of media I consume as blind as possible. All I know is that apparently an octopus is like a main character of this. Like we hear a lot about him, and there's this woman whose husband died, and I think something happened with her son as well. So yeah, so super excited for this. Now time for my second book. Yay! I can't even like express to you guys the time difference between my last clip and finally getting a second pick in real time. I literally have been sitting here for like 5 minutes trying to get a second pick, and it kept giving me the same books, and I was like, oh my gosh, but finally we got one, and it is Blue Sisters by Coco Mellors. Let this focus for the proof of it all. Yes, super excited. So this is Scout's second pick for me. This is a book that I have wanted to read ever since I got it. Again, I like to go into everything as blind as possible. All I know, it is about sisters, and it's set in New York City. I think one of them might have died, and that's why they're all coming together. Doesn't seem to be a terribly long book either, so I'm super excited. So just a little recap, the 2 books I'm going to be reading in today's video is Remarkably Bright Creatures and Blue Sisters. I am going to start with this one first since we did draw her first. Hello guys, so it has been about 2 days since I have last updated you guys. I mean, I have been reading, I just haven't had much to say honestly. I am now 81 pages in. I'm about to start a chapter that's called Bugatti and Blondie. I do have to say I am still really early in this book, so I don't really have any feelings towards it, but I will say the first couple chapters, it did take me a bit to get into this writing style and like the way the story is being told, but now that I'm kind of understanding it, I am definitely more invested. A great surprise is seeing how much character the octopus has. I obviously knew that like we would see from his perspective, but just his personality is like really funny because he's almost kind of cynical in a way, and he kind of thinks he's better than humans, and he finds himself superior obviously because his species is a very intelligent species. So I really am enjoying this, and also I feel like, I don't know how to necessarily describe it, but there's almost kind of a magical realism aspect with this octopus, but I'm not gonna go any more in depth with that because this is a spoiler-free reading vlog. And then with following Tova, I'm really liking the way it's being told, and I also like how not every chapter is about Tova. We're actually getting kind of more POVs, or not necessarily POVs, but just stories and information about like other characters in this town as well, which there's one character, Cameron. I'm not gonna get too in depth like I said, but I kind of had like a little, what's it called, I was confused. I was like, wait, is he someone that he's been mentioned before? Because I feel like other people have been like slightly mentioned, and then it's like, oh, then we get their chapter, but I just think he's another person in this town whose POV we're getting. And obviously I'm very early in, I don't know anything about this book, so this is just a wild guess, but I assume all these POVs we're getting and stories are gonna somehow come together at the end possibly. But I think this book so far, with the 80 pages I'm in, I think it's doing a good job of showing how people just have stories. Like, you never know what someone's background could be and how one person ends up where they are, to just, you know, give people the benefit of the doubt, because you never know what they're going through. This book is kind of making me look at like animals in an aquarium like different. Like, obviously I know that like sometimes depending on the place, it's not the best place for an animal, but just thinking of like what the animal could be thinking when they're held captive, if that's the case, or just in there, how they might be and how they might view their life living in a place like an aquarium or a zoo. I don't know, it's just very intriguing to me. But those are all my thoughts so far. It is a little bit later in the evening. I swear my days I've just been like busy just doing other stuff. So it is currently 6:58, and I'm going to set a time for an hour and a half to read, and then I'll update you guys if there's anything that I feel like needs to be said. Chair. I am finished with my hour and a half of reading. I landed on page 118. So according to Goodreads and Fable, I am 33% into this book, and honestly I feel like I'm not really connecting to the book. I don't know, I'm very early on. I plan on updating you guys when I get to 50% next, around that range, so maybe by then I'll change. But like 30% on, like I definitely think the book has kind of picked up the pace a little bit in terms of the plot. Like more things are happening, kind of has me like wondering like are some things gonna end up this way, but I just feel like I'm not really connecting with any of the characters or like the story in general. Like I'm not like bored of the story, because obviously it still keeps me interested to read, but I don't really feel like any type of emotional connection. And having a emotional connection is like what I love about consuming media, is when it can get some kind of connection out of me. I feel like a lot of people also say like this book kind of moves them. This book is not moving me, but I don't know, I'm still very early in though, but I feel like at 30% I should probably like have a good sense of how I feel on this book. Hello vlog. So it's been a couple days since I have updated you guys on my reading, but I am currently 80% through. I am on the chapter called Amazing Bones, and I'm only like a page or two into it. And I'm not gonna lie, you guys, while I have been, you know, reading this book every day, I just haven't updated you guys. This has been kind of a tough read because genuinely this book is so boring. I'm so sorry. I will save all my thoughts until when I finish it, because I have a little bit left, but genuinely I'm like, what is all the hype about this book? Like, I don't think it's a bad book, but honestly so far it has just been really boring. And kind of like the mystery aspect of the book, I figured out the connection myself way earlier in the book, so it makes it not as fun, because it's like when things come out I feel like it's supposed to be like, oh, like, oh my gosh, like I knew it, but then it's just like, I guess this like 15 chapters ago. I feel like a lot of people have said like, oh, like this book just has such a deep meaning, and I'm just like, I understand the theme that they're conveying in this book, but it's just not moving me. I'm like, okay, that's it. You know what I mean? It's just nothing necessarily revolutionary in my opinion. And I feel like there's a lot of fluff in between the big plot points of this book as well. I just really wish there were more octopus POV chapters, because I feel like his chapters are truly like the saving grace of this book. Hopefully by tonight or tomorrow I will finish her up, and so we can start Blue Sisters. Let me know if you guys have read this, what you guys think. Like I said, I will give like a full review and rating after I finish this, but honestly I don't think it's gonna be any higher than a 3 stars. Hello guys, so I currently have like 3 more chapters left to read. It's 11:26 and I have to leave at 12:15 for an eye appointment, so I'm hoping to finish these chapters right now. Come along with me to finish this book once and for all. Hello vlog. So it is the next day from the last clip you saw. I'm here to give you guys now like my review, my thoughts, yada yada yada. So I gave it a 2 out of 5 stars. It did not hit for me. I went into this book thinking it was going to be a highly rated book for me, not necessarily a 5 stars, but I thought I was going to thoroughly enjoy this book, and it just fell flat for me. I don't think it was a bad book, but I just couldn't really connect to any of the characters. I feel like honestly I didn't really know a lot about the characters, to be honest. Even like the main characters, I thought the saving grace of the book were the POVs from the octopus, and we did not get many of those POVs. I felt like there should have been more like those chapters I actually enjoyed, but other than that I found Cameron a hard character to root for, and I understood like the themes of the books and how, like, you know, an octopus is, you know, seeing humans as beautiful creatures. The whole book was exploring themes of loss and change throughout different people, and just kind of when you're at your lowest, how, you know, humans come together, blah blah blah. I'm like, I've seen those themes throughout all different forms of media throughout my life, and I felt like there have definitely been better representations of those feelings, but that's just my personal opinion. I feel like I'm definitely in the minority of not absolutely enjoying this book. Would I recommend? Not really, honestly. Again, I didn't think it was a bad book. It was just like boring, didn't resonate with me. That is all I have to say for Remarkably Bright Creatures. Okay, and now we're going to be talking about the second book we'll be reading in this vlog, and that is Blue Sisters by Coco Mellers. I actually started this last night. I'm only 17 pages into this book, but I'm already loving it. I feel like this book is going to be right up my alley of what I love from a fiction book. It seems like we're going to be really getting in depth with these characters and their background and just seeing just like that sister bond and family and loss. Already a complete 180 of how I felt when I was reading the previous book I read, but I'm really enjoying this. So far, the first chapter has been in the POV of one of the sisters. I'm currently doing laundry. I'm going to like set a timer for like an hour to sit and read because there are some other things I want to get done today too. The text is a little bit small, but like I've not found myself like getting bored. And anyways, enough talking. Let's get into this book because I need to know more. Transparent with you guys. In the filming of this video, it has been actual days since the last time I talked to you guys. Low-key like a week and a half, honestly. I have been reading. I just have not been updating because life has gotten busy, but I wanted to give you guys an update because I'm about to sit and read. I am 40% in. I am about to start chapter 7, which is in Lucky's POV, and I am absolutely loving this book. Like I said, it's been a while since I recorded the last clip, so forgive me if I repeat myself, but it's just so crazy how these sisters are just all so different from each other and from myself as a reader. Yeah, I can still find myself relating to them in some sort of way. I would say the most I relate is Avery, which is insane because she's the most opposite from me. I can just see myself in some of the thought processes she has and the way she thinks and the way she kind of reacts to stuff. I might have said this before, but I just love how we are really just getting so in depth with these characters as themselves and really exploring their personalities and their struggles. And it's been interesting to see how in the beginning we don't really know exactly how the sister died, but as we're, you know, going through the story through the sisters' different POVs, we're kind of piecing it together. Lucky is very interesting to read as well because she's like the supermodel girl. Bonnie, I would say I'm the least interested in, but I am intrigued to like learn more about her situation. On Netflix they have kind of like reading fireplaces. Last time I read, I listened to the Bridgerton one. Today I'm just listening to like a simple fireplace one. It's an hour long, so I'm gonna read for that hour and then I'll update you guys with my thoughts after that. So I ended my reading a little bit early. 7 minutes were left in the timer, but I am literally starving. But quick little update. I didn't make it like that far. I went from 40 to 46%, but I feel like so much still happened in that 6%. So I definitely will be reading more tonight. Lucky's story, we're definitely seeing a lot more of her thought process and the things she's been through, which is really sad to read. So yeah, that's my update. Now I'm gonna eat. I have some Chick-fil-A waiting. Hello, so I wanted to give a quick little update on where I am at with Blue Sisters. I'm almost done, so I wanted to give one more kind of final thoughts before I finish the book. I'll probably finish the book tonight and then I'll talk to you guys tomorrow about, you know, my full feelings on the book. But so far I am 89% in, and from the last time I talked to you guys up to this point, we were definitely seeing the girls first off all together finally, because they've all kind of been in separate places and they slowly but surely have all been in the same place, and we've kind of seen the struggle of them all coming together and getting used to the new sibling dynamic and the different roles that they used to play changing. And I thought that was really interesting, and it was some very heartwarming but also gut-wrenching stuff that happened and went down. But towards the end now, a lot of the characters are coming to a lot of realizations and like the next steps in life. Yeah, now that I'm towards the end, things are starting to wrap up nicely and things are looking hopeful for all of these characters, and I just think it's so beautiful how they've kind of just brought up real life topics, the different side of motherhood, and people who want to have kids and people who don't want to have kids, and how both are valid, and like people who do have kids but necessarily didn't want to be a mother, like they felt like they had to have kids. That was a good conversation. I will say though, my only gripe is like the end, it's kind of dragging. I will say the way Bonnie's ended, I was not the biggest fan of that, but I feel happy for where Lucky is headed, and same with Avery. But I will say Bonnie's storyline, I would say, it was probably not my favorite. I feel a little confused about it. Last night I left off on page 329, and I literally have this much left to read. I think literally just a couple more pages, 2 pages until the epilogue, and then I'll have to read the epilogue. Those are my updates, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow about my final thoughts. Don't mind me while I lower my chair so I can get better in frame. Perfect. So it is the next day since the last clips you would have saw, but last night I actually ended up finishing Blue Sisters by Coco Mellors, and you guys, the ending was everything. Honestly, any little problem I might have had with some like storylines, I guess, I feel like wrapped up perfectly in the epilogue. And usually with epilogues I'm like, okay, whatever, like let's move on, let's just finish this story. But the epilogue was honestly so beautiful, and I honestly would have loved a longer epilogue, or even an epilogue novel of sorts, just to see what the Blue Sisters are up to right now in this moment. And it's just amazing to see the amount of growth that has happened since the last chapter and the epilogue, yet still show that, you know, there are still struggles and stuff that the sisters will go through, and that's just life. But there's something that happens that will maybe give them all a new sense of hope and maybe a new outlook in life. Just posted my review on Blue Sisters on my bookstagram, which I'm gonna plug. It's at kennedythorntonbooks. So if I'm not filming book videos, you can always see my updates on here. So to get into my review, I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. I thought overall such a good read. I went into this book thinking I would like it, and it really exceeded my expectations. Coco Mellors is an amazing writer. Some of the lines were just so beautiful and just struck out to me so much when I was reading. The fact that this was a character driven story, like that is right up my alley. It's truly like no plot, all vibes, and that's the type of stuff I like, because I just love really getting to know a character and just understand their psyche and the decisions they make and really follow them and see their development. I eat that up. So if you guys know any more books with that type of vibe, definitely comment them down below. And I liked how even though the main theme of this book is grief, there's so many other themes that it talks about as well, such as sisterhood, addiction, family dynamics, mental illnesses, and just everything. There's so much more that I can't even like think of off the top of my head, but it's just so much. Motherhood especially was a big theme in this book as well. I definitely think no matter how different you may be from the sisters, I think you can always find a little bit of yourself in each of the sisters. I definitely will be reading more of Coco Mellors' work. I think her other book, yeah, is Cleopatra and Frankenstein. I think this book and that book are the only books she has out right now. She's definitely a new auto-buy author for me. So obviously this is the end of the video. Overall, I loved having Fable Scout pick my reads. This is definitely a really fun reading vlog, and I definitely will have to like maybe do a part 2 in the future. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. This was so fun. If you have any thoughts about my books, my reviews, anything about this vlog, or just anything in general, don't feel afraid to comment down below. Just make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss another video, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.